Alright, so my name is Sean Gerke, and this is my week 2 walkthrough of our, what is it called, our fruit app. Going to try to make it a little shorter this week. Last week I think it went 7 minutes, but these are hard for me to get all the information in a small time frame. So basically, I spent a lot of my time this week trying to get it some extra stuff, not to duplicate the entries that are in there. So first off, before I even show that, I'm going to go through my PHP here. So a couple different things. I have my PHP. I also did the delete part of it, and then I added some style. So first thing we did is went ahead and set up the MySQL. MySQL with PDO is definitely an interesting way to do it. The videos kind of directed us towards, MySQL improved, but this is a nice way to do it, creating classes and such. Also, the videos kind of pointed us in the direction to do a try and then a catch, and then if there's any error that it would put back. So this actually worked out for me because I just had SL here for when I started this off, so it actually worked out pretty well. So I also had a SQL in here, and I took that out instead, just left it with the error and did the SQL after. So next I fall into the server requests. So this I walked through a little bit because last week we used post submit, so I was kind of looking at this to see what this was, and it seems like that's the better way to go about it. And then I went and I changed around my method here to be get, and sure enough it wouldn't return. So this actually tested out and it worked very well, and all the research I showed said this is better, do this instead. They're actually two different things. So basically once that condition's met, then we went ahead and made some variables, stored the variables from the post in fruit name and fruit color. And then here's where I spent the bulk of my time. I was all over the place with this. So this was adding a query to check to make sure that the input wasn't put in twice. So if you had apple red, you couldn't put apple red in again. So I did a query with a select statement, which basically shows the fruit name and then the fruit name which I created, which would have been something that was in post, and the same thing with fruit color in those variables in the table. So if they exist, here's the query for that, but then I want to show the number of rows. So if it exists at all, it's an AND statement. So if both of them are in there, so if it was apple and blue, it's not going to be in there. If it's apple and red, yes, it should be one row there. So save it in num rows, and then we go ahead and if num rows is greater than 0, then you're going to have a message here. Else, then you're good to go, and you can insert into the database. So inserting into the database, go ahead and execute that in. Then going into my HTML, pretty simple HTML. I didn't really go crazy with it this week, although we could do a lot more with it. This is just trying to show us some PHP, so I try to stay away from it. Simple form here, action form, going to the fruits PHP with the post method. So, and then all the naming conventions here: fruit name, fruit color, submit. So next, if is set message now and post. So this is something I kind of struggled with as well. This message here, this is what happens if it's already in there. So if it is 1, so if it's greater than 0, or it could be 2, whatever, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be 1, that message is created. And I didn't want it to show until after you'd submitted the form. So if you submitted the form and it was already there, then it's set and it echoes that message. So I think I did a pretty good job there. I'm pretty sure that's the way to do it, but please let me know if it's not. Next up, I just did a big div here with a couple classes going through to make everything pretty, and then these are just the headers going in, and then actually changing this is where the dynamic portion comes in. This is what populates the HTML. So again, preparing the statement and then executing it. Fetch all, that was a PDO thing, so it's an associative array, and then I did a for each. Again, the videos kind of went through just having a while statement, so this I looked into quite a bit. I like this way to do it with the for each. Then created the table rows, table data inside of the table body for each one, and then I also did the delete on there. So I added a class of delete, and then the row for each one of those and the delete button. So ending with that, let's go ahead and look at the application itself. All right, so kind of went with the same thing that you had going on, but this I went with fruit name. These are kind of off, but again, I ran out of time here for that. And then my button was huge, so that's just part of CSS. I can fix that real quick. I did add a little bit of I don't know, decoration here, a little bit of CSS with this stuff. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see with the tables that the different colors. So I would have messed around with that a little bit more, but that's not important. What is important though is that if I go in here and let's look at the table, we have apple and red. All right, so let's go ahead and make a apple that's green. Apple, green, and let's add that. All right, so there's apple, there's green. Can also delete it, and you saw it came in at 4. Let's do apple, that's red. And again, my CSS isn't great here. I would totally change this, but you can't put it in because it's already there. This fruit, it says that fruit is already been entered, has already been entered. So look at that. Well, now we'll go like this. We'll delete that, clears everything out, and then we're going to go apple red. Add. Look at that. There comes apple red. So I spent a lot of time trying to get that to work, and now if I go ahead and try apple red again, it doesn't work. It completely works, but it doesn't show you that value because it's already in the database. So I thought that was a little bit of optimization, actually going through and making the application do a little bit more than what it really needed to do. So I hope you look at that more than you look at the CSS that really needed to be kind of put some more time to. So either way, that's my application for week 2. Thank you. Have a good night.